Are you a mom who works but works from home? I'm a work from home mom, and it really is such a blessing to do. But it's a lot harder to transition from work mode into mom mode. So today we're going to talk about how to make that transition seamless to avoid the chaos. I'm a virtual math teacher, and when I first landed this job, it was a dream. My previous job, I was teaching at a brick and mortar school, and I had to commute 1 hour each way in order to get there. So I had to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to leave by 6 to end up at school by around 7:15. I usually got home around 5 o'clock, maybe 5:30 depending on the day, only to be left doing all the things that I couldn't do during the school day and also still try and enjoy my family. So while this virtual position freed up a ton of time for me, mostly in just the getting ready and commute time, it also brought new challenges. Being virtual means that my students and my parents are able to reach me at any time of the day. Normally in a brick and mortar school, students see you every day so they can ask you questions during the 8 to 4 window, and then parents are a little bit more hands-off because they can't see everything. But in our virtual school, students can be working at midnight and sending me emails, calling my phone, and same thing with parents. They're always checking in on their students' progress because they are doing school from home and have access to everything that their students are doing. I'm a very type A person. I need things to be in order, completed. Seeing little notifications drives me bonkers. I cannot leave text messages unread. I have to clear out my emails every day. And same thing with phone calls. I cannot see that little red number. You've got 3 voicemails that you still need to listen to. So being a virtual teacher, I would log in and constantly be refreshing my page to see, oh, I have 10 new emails to respond to. And once I zeroed them out and my page refreshed, I'd have another 10 emails to respond to. Fast forward to being totally overwhelmed, feeling defeated, and like an utter failure. All because I could never seem to get ahead. And it was so hard for me to shift from work to mom mode because it all happened in the exact same space. My family and I live in I don't know if you would say small house, but it fits us. We literally use every space that we have. We have 3 bedrooms and 4 kids, so we use all of our closet space, and there just wasn't an additional room that we could make into an office or a closet that we could make into an office. Literally, me and my husband would work in our kitchen, which is basically our living room too, and that was just wide open for if anybody was in the house to ask questions. What are we having for dinner? Hey mom, can you look at this? Which inevitably would throw me off track in an instant, and it would be so hard for me to get back into focused mode, which in turn would lead me to turn into She-Hulk mom and snap at everybody, my husband included, for anything that they said to me. All because I couldn't concentrate and be productive in my job. I have the wonderful pleasure of my mom literally living right next door to us. And so after saying enough is enough, I decided and asked to claim a room in her basement to be my office. And so I moved all my work stuff over here. This is my office in her house, and I was able to be more focused because I'm isolated. People don't just see me to go, oh yeah, let me ask you something, mom, or hey, Erica, what are you doing? It's harder to reach me, and that alone has made a huge difference. Now, the only downfall to that is she does watch my kids during the day, so we kind of switch places. She comes to my house and watches my youngest, and then I come to her house and do my work. But I also feel this rush, this urgency when I am done working to run back over there. So what I would do is literally sign off at 4, run over to the house, and cue the immediate overwhelm of just the bombardment of mom, let me tell you all the things that I couldn't tell you today. Which you think, oh, awesome, I get to work from home, how great. But that's one more thing that you might not realize going into it, that There's no transition time. There's no commute home for you to listen to some music and decompress a little bit or sit in silence and just process and reflect on the day. It's an immediate, I finished working, now I'm a mom. But what also was really hard is that I would take my work home with me. So I would take my computer home with me and feel the need, because I know that my students are submitting things every moment of every day. So I would go, okay, if I've got a break of time, let me just hop on there real quick and just answer the emails that came in. So in the morning when I wake up, I don't have 50 emails to respond to. But that turns into a never-ending cycle of working, which is not what I wanted to do with my life. It is exhausting living in this 24/7 world. We cannot and should not facilitate responding at every moment of every day. It's not good for us, it's not good for our families, and honestly, it's not good for the people that are expecting us to respond the moment they send us something. We all need healthy boundaries, and even though things are able to be responded to 24/7 because of the technology that we have, we need to set hard boundaries on when is our work time and when is our family time. So I decided to put a light switch by my computer, not my actual lights, but one that kind of metaphorically is representing my work. And so when I am working, that light switch is on. And then when I am done working, I flip the switch off to signal my brain, Erica, you are done working for the day. We are not taking our computer home. We are not checking emails when we get home. We're not going to get a little bit farther ahead in our lesson plans or in our grading. We are going home to be mom. In a brick and mortar school, nobody expects a teacher to call them back at 8 o'clock at night because they know they're at home. So I shouldn't treat myself any differently because I'm a virtual teacher and people think, oh, well, she's virtual. She should be able to respond at any time. I am not a robot. I am still a human, and I still need time to take off from work, to decompress myself, and to spend with my own family. So this is a hard boundary that I try and set with myself every day. When I have decided that I am done working, that is usually at 4 o'clock on the dot, I flip that switch off and I do not turn it back on until the next day. The next thing I implemented was some affirmations and encouragement. Because I don't have that buffer time anymore, I mean, I guess I could technically add in some extra time to transition, but to really get my mind right, I've implemented these affirmations and encouragement because I know the moment I walk in the door, my kids are going to go, Mom, what are we having for dinner? Mom, let me tell you what I did today. Mom, he hit me. I know it's already going to happen, and I need to prepare myself mentally to walk into that chaos. So the 3 things that I remind myself are, I'm a good mom, I enjoy my family, and I can pause and be peaceful. Because I would walk in and go, I just feel the She-Hulk mom come in. So I'm reminding myself, I'm a good mom, even if I don't have everything perfect and all my stuff together. I can enjoy my family no matter how many crazy questions they're asking me, and I can be peaceful. I have control over how I react to things, and reminding myself that my kids are only being that way because they love me and they miss me. Now, I didn't just leave it there where it's okay, I just know I'm going to walk into a war zone of questions. I also implemented an after-school transition routine. This is a routine that I set in place for my kids so they knew exactly what they were supposed to be doing the moment they got home from school. There is about an hour where the kids get off the bus, and when I'm done working, that they are kind of in limbo. Normally, this is where the backpacks get strewn all over the floor. Toys are everywhere. Emotions are high, and I come in and bark in orders of backpacks need to be picked up. Who's made their lunch? And it just wasn't a good environment for my kids or myself. So the routine helped streamline what after school looked like and helped make things a little bit easier when I walked in the door. And it also puts a little bit of responsibility on them. So their routine is they come in, they hang up their backpacks, they take out their folder and put it on the counter for me to look at when I get home. They eat a snack because I know they're hungry. Then they go to their respective rooms and spend 10 to 15 minutes apart. They literally get off the bus and start bickering at each other. I don't even understand why that's a thing, but I give them 15 minutes max of space to just take a breath, be in a safe spot before they start connecting back with the family. After that time, they come back out, they make their lunch for the next day, and work on any homework that they might have. So that should all be done within the hour of when I'm still working and they're hanging out with grandma. So when I walk in the door from work, backpack should be picked up, shoes should be put in the basket. You know, we might still be a little bit emotional, but at least we've had some space to kind of have a moment by ourselves. Lunches should be done, homework should be done. So I should not be coming in barking orders about, hey, make sure you're doing all this stuff. This should already be done per their routine. And then when I come in, we all go outside and hang out together. This is a time of connecting back with my kids, but also being in an environment that is happy and healing. There's just something about outside that just changes your perspective and your mindset on things. Now, I'll only spend about 30 minutes outside because we are kind of on a little bit of a time crunch in terms of getting dinner ready a little bit earlier than what most families do. And so I'll leave them, like, you guys continue to play outside while I'm making dinner. And then we have dinner as a family. The other thing that's helpful as a work from home mom is to have things prepped ahead of time. Take dinner, for example. I would walk in, like I said, our dinner routine is pretty tight just because of how our evening schedules work out. So I pretty much walk in, have about 30 minutes before I've got to start getting dinner going so that we can eat by around 5 o'clock. Now, what used to happen is I had a little newborn who just kind of was fussy, and so I would be holding him and also answering 50 questions from the other kids while trying to make dinner. And it's like I've got one hand and I'm trying to stir and do other things here. And it was a lot to manage. And normally I would be deciding what dinner was on the fly, which is definitely something I highly encourage against. Make sure you have a meal plan ahead of time. But knowing what I was going to make for dinner ahead of time, so let's say I was going to make spaghetti, having the pot of water already filled so that I could just turn it on is way easier to do than holding a baby, taking the pot over to my sink, filling it up with water, and then one-handed, like, I'm not that strong, you guys. So it was really difficult for me to be carrying big pots of water to the stove from my sink while I was holding a baby. And also just having the ingredients out, not having to sift through like all your spices that you're gonna need, having it all out, like your spaghetti out, your sauce out, whatever ingredients that you're gonna put with the sauce, right there, aside from what needs to be refrigerated, obviously. Just made it so much easier that I wasn't having to hunt for stuff and find things. It was all there, so I could just quickly put it together. That little change was such a no-brainer and helped things to be so much less chaotic. The more you can prep to reduce that decision fatigue, the more time you save to truly enjoy your family. Small shifts can drastically change the atmosphere of your home. Be sure you set boundaries around when your work time is, and really stick to that. Have a designated space and expectation of not being interrupted during that time so you can focus. Commit to leaving your work where it is when you decide to transition into mom mode. Know exactly when you're working and when you're being a mom. Pump yourself up for transitioning into mom mode by reminding yourself that you are a good mom and your kids are a blessing. Set up routines so your family knows what is expected of them before you get home and when you get home to help things transition more smoothly and reduce that decision fatigue. Our families are capable of doing a lot more sometimes than we think. Don't be afraid to give them some responsibility. And don't forget to prep ahead as much as you can to make things a breeze when you are done working. I'd love for you to come over and hang out with me on Instagram at Legacy of Presence, where I share more on being a present mom. See you next time.